Hello and welcome to Tracka Plus. I am Charles Muzi. Thank you for joining us. Tracka Plus is produced by Channels Television in collaboration with Budget. Still on the conversations about the Legitimacy of Constituency project. Is it a matter of constitutionality or political expediency? We spoke to some very learned Nigerians about their opinions on the subject matter, and you'll hear what they told us when we come back after this. Please stay with us. The controversy on constituency projects has been one that has lingered since the return to democracy in 1999. At separate events in 2016, former President Olusegun Obasanjo and Minister for Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, had this to say about constituency projects.
What of the so-called constituency projects, which is a veritable source of corruption? These constituency projects are spread over the budget for members of the National Assembly, for which they are the initiator and the contractor, directly or by proxy, and money will be fully drawn, with the project only partially executed or not executed at all.
To the extent, therefore, that constituency projects are not necessarily provided for in our Constitution, I think it is fair to acknowledge that they have grown by convention from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. I say this first because we must also avoid the risk of crowding out. And I say this as a matter of practical experience where legislators at the national level are legislating to implement constituency projects that involve primary health care centers, which are matters which should be within the remit of local governments at the very best, and at the very worst, matters which the state government should deal with, and matters which might well lie within the constituency of the state parliamentarian. So we must avoid crowding out.
Just for clarity, we sought the opinion of two constitutional lawyers on this matter. Please listen to this.
It's important to understand the very foundation of a democratic government. The most important principle is what we call separation of powers. Now, if you look at the Constitution, it begins by providing supremacy of the Constitution. And almost immediately, it divides the powers. So the first thing you have to ask yourself is, this constituency project, where does it fall in the powers that are divested in the three powers? Is it within the legislative power, or the executive, or the judiciary? Now, you are not talking of project. If you are talking of project, you are talking of execution, doing something to achieve the end of government. Definitely, that has nothing to do with making of the law. For example, if we look at the history since 1999, the National Assembly has budgeted almost 1 trillion naira for constituency projects, almost 1 trillion for constituency projects. Now, where is the constituency project anywhere? If we talk to Nigerians, you cannot find any constituency project. The constitutional power to budget, howsoever or whatsoever, belongs to the president. The constitutional power to approve budget or reject it belongs to the National Assembly. All those arguments that the National Assembly is pushing around is just an argument in order to create, a support for an unconstitutional intrusion into the powers of the president.
I think we need to get certain things right. There's no provision for constituency projects in the Constitution or in any law. Section 81 of the Constitution provides that the president shall prepare the budget, shall cause the budget to be prepared, and lay it before the National Assembly. The preparation of the budget is a process. Budgeting is a serious process in which the executive will be required to get proposals from each of the departments of the government to verify claims that are being made, to fix prices for goods that are going to be supplied, to know the cost of a building or the buildings that are going to be constructed, to find out, by asking for, bill of quantities if you are going to construct roads and put up buildings and the rest of them. So that is what the Constitution means by saying the president shall cause to be prepared the budget. In the course of debating the budget, the National Assembly cannot prepare the budget. It has been laid before it for the purpose of checking the figures, ensuring that there is no duplication, that there is no fraudulent insertion of any figure. In the course of doing that, the National Assembly can remove what should not be there. But the National Assembly cannot insert into the budget what has not been prepared by the president. Ditto for the so-called constituency projects. Because of the lacuna, accepted, because of the lacuna in Section 81 of the Constitution, the National Assembly enacted, and to put an end to these controversies, the National Assembly enacted the Fiscal Responsibility Act in 2007. The provisions of that act are to the effect that there will be a medium-term framework which should be prepared by the Minister of Finance. And the National Assembly is one of the institutions to be consulted in preparing the framework. It is that framework that will form the basis of the budget that will be presented to the National Assembly by the President.